Hello everybody and welcome back. Hope everyone's having a good day. Wanting to make a quick video here about the Russia-North Korea situation. I kind of think that this has been going on a while and they just haven't publicly said it. Because when Trump was president, and even prior to when Trump was president, the missile systems and nuclear technology in North Korea was rapidly and suspiciously rapidly progressing, because under Kim Jong-il, it really wasn't progressing very fast at all. And then the son took over and it just kind of started building up fast. So what I'm getting at is Russia was more than likely at least aiding in some of the technology, giving them some technologies to help move it along. Because you look at their cruise missiles and their not their ICBMs, but their smaller, the shorter range ballistic missiles that they have, they're the same basically the same as the 1980s Soviet ones. But anyways, so the news, Putin basically just announced, he said it publicly, that he's going to be providing these technologies to Kim Jong-un and North Korea in exchange for artillery rounds that will be used in Ukraine. So I think this has been, like I just said, I think this has been going on for a while. I think Putin's been giving the technologies for a while to destabilize. And I think obviously Kim Jong-un's been providing the shells. I think the news said, you can't always trust the news, but the news said something like he's been doing it for about 8 months now. So anyways, whether that was true or not, it's true now. Moving forward, they signed a pact. The pact says that if either's attacked, they're going to come to each other's aid. It doesn't say anything similar to the Article 5 NATO, where if an attack on one is an attack on all, and then they all just deploy troops. I think their pact is more assistance and supplies than actual outright war, defending each other, but I think it could go to that anyways. Obviously trade and all the ceremonies and just the kind of everything else that comes with it, the friendship, the fiery growing friendship. So it's pretty clear why Putin would want to do this, and it's destabilizing to the West, and there's a lot of reasons to what got us here. Different people are going to have different reactions to this and concern. I've seen kind of in the comment sections about, I would say 60% of people are like, okay, this is really bad, this is intimidating. And then 40% are like, well, these guys have crap weapons. They're bad countries. They don't have a strong GDP, so we don't need to worry about it. So it's about 60-40. More people are kind of scared than the people that aren't, is what I've seen in the comment sections on various news networks on YouTube. I've been kind of going through it, just kind of reading comments today. And I don't know if I'm a doomer or an optimist on this, but I think one of the potential flashpoints would be Taiwan. And if North Korea and Russia are linked together, and obviously they're going to be like basically junior partners to China, because China is really the economic engine of not just that region, but I think really of the globe. So Taiwan would be the flashpoint. It's all over microchips. It would be basically a war over that. I don't know how many people would want to fight in that war. If people were to be drafted in the United States, who would answer the call? Who would be a draft dodger? I know in the Vietnam War, and I think in the Iraq War too, a lot of draft dodgers in the U.S. went to Canada, but wouldn't work this time because Canada would be doing conscription, drafting people as well. So there would be nowhere to run. You wouldn't be able to run to anywhere in the West because there would be NATO countries. I think there's a few that aren't NATO countries. You could probably go to Switzerland or something. Other than that, you'd probably be going to countries that would be partnered with either China or Russia, because as much as you don't like it, China and Russia are more favorable across the globe right now than the United States. The United States foreign policy has just been to bomb people, take their oil. It's been said so many times. It's beating a dead horse, and you hear it, and it's true, but it gets to the point where we already know, and I don't think anyone really voted for that. I guess if you voted for George W. the second time, you kind of would have voted for it a little bit, but I don't think many people wanted him in his second term, or they didn't really want him. I don't know when his polling dropped off, but I think when his polling did drop off, he only had like 17% support. It was like the lowest in any president ever, when they found out he lied about Iraq. And that's kind of what caused the huge vacuum to populism and Trump and whatever. But anyways, kind of tying that into Trump, if Trump gets back in, there's nothing different that he can do than what Biden's doing. I guess the one thing that he would probably do is to basically split Ukraine in half and give half of it to Russia, but it wouldn't change anything. Russia would still be with North Korea and China, and the major flashpoint would still be Taiwan. So it would be a failure to do that, really. And there's no good guy and bad guy in war. You can talk about NATO expansion. You can talk about Russian disinformation, him invading first. And I'm a little bit soft on Russia in the original Crimea type invasion, because I do believe that was kind of pseudo-democratically elected, but it did seem like there's a lot of ethnic Russians in Crimea. I think it's like 80%, and I think Crimea is a bit of a separate issue, but I don't want to get too ingrained in politics, because I'm for peace and I don't really want to take sides in that. But I think the main flashpoint would be Taiwan, and I think the alliance, no matter what concessions you give and whoever's in power, it's still going to be those three: North Korea, Russia, and China together, and the main flashpoint is always going to be Taiwan. So I do see the West going to war over Taiwan in the next 10 years or so. I think that's actually quite likely. And that goes back to my question about who would answer the call for that draft. And also whether if nuclear weapons would be used. We've already seen during COVID that there's potential for biochemical weapons spreading disease and illness. And to me, that would be worse than nuclear war, to be honest, because I think if I were to die by a nuclear explosion and just be vaporized, it'd be painless, to be quick. I'm not saying I want that, but if someone was to drop some kind of Ebola virus and your skin slowly falls off over 2 weeks and then you're lethargic and it's like a plague, I think that's way worse, and I think that's kind of where we're heading. So anyways, I don't know what the point of this video is. I'm just reacting to the news. It's troublesome, obviously. It's disabling, but I mean, the West shouldn't have been meddling with other people's elections. We should have just had our own trade unions. We should have been more reasonable. I think we've really went out of control with this finance capitalism. We've been playing housing markets like they're the stock market, and we've been playing the stock markets like it's a casino, and we don't really do anything, make anything anymore. So I don't know who's even the people that would answer the call. Like, do we have like people that can, like, we'd be so vastly outnumbered. It would be, because China has over 1 billion people. They'd probably have other African countries that would be involved. They would have North Korea and Russia. So, I mean, it would depend if the West could get India to side with NATO, because you're going to be outnumbered both in bodies and both in nuclear weapons, because Russia has more nuclear weapons than the West does, and they're able to produce them faster. And with China, it would be like one of us for three of them. So I mean, it'd be a crazy war. I think it would probably kill everybody, and I think there would be, with Russia's nuclear doctrine, that they, if they're threatened with their existence, they'd push the button. I think they would. So it means even if we were winning, they would kill everybody. So it's crazy, man. It's fucking crazy. Anyways, peace out. Long-winded, rambling, ranting video, but at least I'm making a video on it and just expressing myself. Like I wanted to kind of talk to somebody about this, and you just don't go around talking about kind of stuff like this now. And people are just kind of head in the sand with a lot of these things, and it's kind of like keeping up with the Kardashians type vibe, and maybe that's the way to go too. Maybe it's just fucking ignore it and party, and when the nuke drops, you'll be fucking partying at a rave and you won't even notice or care. Maybe that is the way. I don't know. I have no fucking comprehension of this situation at all, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna end well for the West, is my point. Peace out.